Hi, I'm Jonathan Worsley and chairman of the bench here at FHS Saudi for this fabulous event. I'm here with Jeff Tisdall, who's head of One Living at Accor. Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. And so far, has it been good for you?
Yeah, it's been very good. I mean, we always look forward to this event. I think it's very important for the industry. It's certainly very important for Accor, and it's a very active market for us in terms of branded residential. So exciting. There's a lot of energy at the event, and we're very pleased to be here.
That's great. Now, tell us about One Living. What's One Living all about?
Well, Accor One Living is our mixed-use platform focused on the development and the operation of branded residences. And at Accor, we've been in branded residential now for almost 25 years. We're fortunate in the sense that we have a couple of the real pioneers in branded residences, brands like Fairmont, Raffles, SLS, which is the fastest growing lifestyle brand. And what we've done in the last 2 or 3 years is we pulled all the expertise that we have in mixed use from a legal perspective, a development perspective, a design perspective, operations perspective, and we pulled that into a single team that then supports each of our brand organizations, our development partners, and our homeowner communities, really with the goal of providing turnkey service across each phase in the life cycle of a mixed-use project with hotel and branded residences.
Right. So a turnkey solution for developers who are looking at the branded residence sector. Well, plenty to learn. But before we go into that, what about the markets around the world? What are the hot markets for branded residences?
Well, we're standing in one of the real hot markets here in the Gulf, broadly speaking, in the UAE, but certainly in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has really emerged as an important market in terms of branded residences. If you went back almost 10 years ago to 2015, the concept really hadn't broken the ice, so to speak, in this market. Flash forward to today, 3% of all branded residences worldwide in terms of network and pipeline are here in Saudi Arabia. So it's become a very active place for us generally. Dubai is obviously one of the hot spots globally alongside Miami. We really got our start in the Americas, but if you look at it over the last 10 or 15 years, most of our development activity has been in Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. So those are really the drivers today of branded residential.
Right. And in terms of the appetite for branded residence, which markets are you finding whereby the consumers understand it, they get it, they want it, they're paying a premium?
I think in terms of consumers around the world, if you think about branded residences, they're typically marketed at the very top end of their respective property markets. And so what you usually see, regardless of whether a market is mature in terms of luxury or maybe it's an emerging luxury market, the buyers at the very top end of the market are very sophisticated, very demanding. They typically have familiarity across not only the market they reside in, but across key source markets around the world where branded residences are being developed. So we see in Saudi Arabia, we see in Dubai, we see in London, we see a very discerning buyer who typically understands the concept and the fact that the brand doesn't simply translate to interior design and architecture, but it also informs the operations. And I think a lot of those buyers, they look to our brands. Some of our brands have been around now for more than 100 years. They're trusted by hospitality investors to safeguard some of the most iconic hospitality assets. And when that same brand is extended to a private residence, there's a real comfort and a peace of mind that comes from that purchaser for acquiring a product like that.
So in Saudi, is it co-located? You're typically doing hotel and residences, or
that's
standalone?
That's a very good question. Today, so far, it's been entirely co-located. So a mixed-use development, typically anchored by a hotel, but with a co-located private residence where a purchaser can either purchase a primary or a secondary home. Now, if you look at it more broadly, globally, standalone branded residences where the branded residence is developed independently of a hotel, that's become very, very common. That's about 25-30% of the branded residence business worldwide for leaders like Accor in the space. We haven't seen that yet in Saudi, but I would expect in Riyadh, for example, that's probably just around the corner.
So you're typically looking at the luxury end of the scale for branded residence. What about the mid-market, sort of the Pullmans type brands? Is that coming into play as well?
Yeah, very good question. We certainly got our start, if you will, in the luxury space. Brands like Raffles, Sofitel, Delano, SLS on the lifestyle side. the picture's really changed a lot over the last 10 years. And so it is still anchored, if you will, by luxury branded residences. But globally, according to Savills, 70% of branded residence projects are luxury, and 30% of them are now either premium or mid-scale. So we see a lot of activity in our business, for instance, with brands like Pullman, brands like Movenpick, Swiss Hotel. And then here in Mecca, we've actually developed and now are operating the first Novotel branded residence project worldwide.
One of the key elements of a branded residence must be community. How important is that for the consumers or the buyers?
Essential. And when we talk about turnkey 360-degree support, certainly we're very focused on the front end, helping our development partners plan, conceive, successfully market these projects. But our responsibility is for years and years into the operating phase. And that really is where we need to focus on animation, programming, doing the sort of events, activities, and activation that helps inspire and develop communities. And that relationship, which sometimes extends beyond generations with families of homeowners, is really, really critical. So animation can take the form of organizing receptions, family events, special intimate engagements with authors, thought leaders, etc. But there's a lot that goes into animation and community building, and it's a very, very important part of our role that we take quite seriously.
And making sure you've got the restaurants and the activation around the branded residence as well. Now, we've got the branded residence forum we had in October back in FHS in Dubai, very successful. Yes. And we've launched it here with your thanks. We've got some verticals going on tomorrow on branded residence. I really appreciate your support on that. And then we're going also to Bangkok in June as well, where you're a main sponsor of that event. It's just interesting, isn't it? It's grown. It's come out very quickly, hasn't it? Because we were one of the first events in Dubai launching this forum.
Yeah, I think the Dubai event was very, very important. I would argue that was a real first of its kind event. It was the first time that subject of branded residences that has so much momentum globally was given a full half day to really focus and dig into the key issues and opportunities that drive the success for branded residential developers, investors, operators, and all the advisors that make these projects possible or viable. And I think that event had a lot of momentum. I mean, there were some wonderful speakers, there were some great discussions, and I think, thanks to the bench, you've really been able to carry that momentum forward. And so tomorrow, for example, really starting today, with an important discussion or kickstart things in the branded residence track, Nick Candy from Candy Capital, Jerry Enzerio from Jerry Gate, and of course, Kerry Watkins from Baker and McKenzie. They'll really kick things off later on this afternoon. And then we'll dig more deeply into some of the key issues, how these projects are properly structured from a legal perspective, sales and marketing, how to take projects from markets like Saudi Arabia and potentially market them offshore. So I think the people that are engaged in these projects, what they've really been looking for is an opportunity to dig more deeply into the subject matter and really look at the key issues driving the success of these projects. And so both last year in Dubai, today and tomorrow here in Riyadh, in Bangkok on June 25th with the Asia launch of the Branded Residence Forum, and then later on this year back in Dubai for the Branded Residence 2.0 Forum, we've really created, I think, that opportunity together. And we're extremely pleased and proud to be working with the bench and your team to make these events possible.
Great. Well, there's so much learning in this space as well, isn't it? There's lots of different dynamics going on here. So
I think that's really true. And I think if you look at these projects, there are so many experts from across so many disciplines. The brands are obviously important, the investors and their vision, the lawyers that structure these projects so that they protect the interest of the investor, the purchaser, and of course the brand itself, as well as the marketers, the designers, the architects. So the contributions come from every different corner. And I think what's unique about the Branded Residence track here at FHS Saudi Arabia and the event to follow in Bangkok, the Branded Residence Forum, is it's a rare opportunity to pull all of those contributors together and really exchange on ideas and opportunities and create the next great generation of branded residence projects.
Fantastic. Well, and there's plenty of growth, isn't there?
There is. It's an incredibly fast moving segment, one that we're extremely pleased to be part of.
Yeah. Jeff, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jonathan.